Welcome to the first episode of Josh's Movie Reviews Reboot. The Last Man on Earth, The Omega Man, and I Am Legend. What do these three films have in common? Well, they're all loosely based on a novel called I Am Legend, written by Richard Matheson. A film also based on a novel, which is barely worth mentioning, is called I Am Omega. Although the film does but barely resemble the novel, it's got crummy B-movie acting and production values. Although interestingly, it was released during the same year as I Am Legend, starring Will Smith, 2007. I own two of the three films mentioned, I Am Legend and The Last Man on Earth. I purchased Last Man on Earth in a horror movies collection, which also contained a bunch of other classic films from around that era, such as Night of the Living Dead and Werewolf of Washington. When I bought the collection, I actually had no intention of watching The Last Man on Earth, but when I found out it was a movie based on the book, I decided it would be for the best. They're all tales of survival revolving around a man named Robert Neville and his experiences in an apocalyptic world run by flesh-eating vampires. Each film is presented differently based on the era it came out. For example, in I Am Legend starring Will Smith, it's basically a modern reincarnation of the novel, changing the way the story flows in order to keep up with mainstream traditions, such as how New York City has industrialized and the weaponry, cars, and electronics have improved as well. There's actually a scene in I Am Legend where Robert Neville recites the animated movie Shrek as he watches it. I like how modernized they made this depiction of the book. One thing that always seems controversial among movie watchers is that although it is implied in the films that the creatures are vampires, it is never really fully explained. In the Vincent Price film, the trailer suggests the monsters are the living dead. Some would argue, but The Last Man on Earth could very well have been the first film ever to have zombies featured in it, making George Romero's Night of the Living Dead the second. However, the zombies in The Last Man on Earth also contain the same weaknesses as vampires would, like the fact that they're sensitive to light.
I couldn't be out here in the daylight if I was one of them. You know that they can't come out until sundown.
And a stake through the heart is always the best way to kill. Although George Romero's Night of the Living Dead was inspired by The Last Man on Earth, Romero's zombies are more respected and are followed by a larger fan base because of the key differences his zombies had. I Am Legend is more centered around Will Smith and his dog. One major similarity I found between the 2007 film and the 1964 film was the scene where Robert has to kill the dog. The I Am Legend version was much more dramatic because the dog played a major role in the film.
Everything's going to be all right. All right. You're going to get better. We're going to have lots of happy times together.
As the 1964 version, the dog was in the movie just for that one scene and did not have any other significance other than that. My knowledge is a little bit fuzzy, but if I'm not mistaken, the Omega Man film did not contain a dog as a secondary character at all throughout the film. However, this is just speculation. One thing that I found interesting is that as the filming technology evolves, so do the creatures. In The Last Man on Earth, the creatures appear to be more lifelike and less realistic. In the Omega Man, the creatures appear to be more human, but have more cultic nature. In I Am Legend, the creatures are fully animated using CG technology. If you were to watch I Am Legend, you'll notice the animation looks slightly dated. That's because it is. Even with an estimated budget of $150 million, the technology in 2007 just isn't up to par with what it is today. Although the films have these differences, it did not ruin the enjoyment I had watching them. I love all depictions equally, with the exception of I Am Omega, of course. It's interesting to see how the films change in terms of character development and story based on that era they came out. I have much respect for the three films I mentioned in this review, so I rate them all 9 out of 10 stars. Now, there is rumor going around that there's a possibility that I Am Legend 2 is in production. However, I see no reason to make a sequel because the story wrapped up nicely near the end of I Am Legend. To make a sequel would require a new cast and a new plot. That just wouldn't feel right, as the books never had a sequel. Anyways, that's just my opinion. Expect more reviews coming soon, and thanks for watching.